Good morning. Today we're going on a road trip to a beautiful city of Tambov. I really like road trips. When I was younger, it was my best default way to snap myself out of any kind of bad condition mentally. Whenever I would feel overwhelmed or depressed, I would find an opportunity to get myself a train ticket and go somewhere else for a couple of days. It feels like my problems couldn't follow me if I went away. I like being on an airplane and in an airport, in fact. I know that a lot of people don't, but for me it feels like I have left wherever I was, but I haven't arrived. So, in a sense, I don't exist. I'm nowhere to be found. So my problems and any people that would bother me, they cannot find me. This road trip was very relaxed. I took a lot of breaks and the weather was truly gorgeous, and you can see that the scenery is also breathtaking, even though the roads might be not as good as I would have hoped. But the nature in Russia is really beautiful, especially this time of year, and even though the further I got from home, the less forest I could see, and being away from forest makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but overall it was a very good journey and I really enjoyed just driving for hours. The place we're visiting today is called Tambov. It's a relatively small city, although it's a center of its own district. I'm not sure what it's called. The following video is going to be just a number of clips that I took during the visit, and the city is very interesting. As a lot of places in Russia, it's very polished in some areas and it's falling apart in others. Locals say that the current mayor that they have, that he does things for the city and things do get better, but as we'll get to see, it's a mixed bag, really. I was visiting right after the 9th of May, which is the Victory Day in Russia, so the city was dressed up for the occasion. The city was founded as a fortress in 17th century, and that makes it a little bit older than St. Petersburg. And there are a lot of similarities that I can see between those two places, even though they are very far from each other. A lot of architecture looks similar. To be honest, Tambov looks like a mix of all the provincial towns that I saw in Russia, and it's really well preserved. We get to see a lot of really old buildings, 19th century, 18th century, a lot of wooden houses that are still lived in by actual people. The Central Park looks great, very clean, very renovated. It has an exhibition of photographs and the same Ferris wheel that is located in every major city in Russia. Most things look very nice, and I couldn't tell that I wasn't in a major city just looking at restaurants or cafes, even though it's not the most popular tourist place in the world. We have spent some time outside of town in a hotel celebrating my friend's birthday, and it was really nice. It has a nice pine forest just outside of the area of the hotel. It was a lovely time. The next morning, two of my friends and I have booked a guided tour around the city, and we have spent 3 hours walking around and taking pictures and soaking in the history of the place. I think that it's very important to find a guided tour when you're visiting somewhere, because some places are really hard to find if you don't know what you're looking for. So having somebody who can tell you exactly what's going on is really cool, and it was totally worth the money. A lot of places in Russia have a pedestrian street in the center because Moscow has one. In Moscow, it's called Arbat, and so a lot of places have their own Arbat. One of the first associations with Tambov is the phrase Tambov wolf is your comrade. And it comes from a film, and it basically means that I'm not your friend. Tambov wolf is your friend. Tambov wolf seems like a bad guy. But it's a very old saying, and it was said about people from the area who were looking for jobs, and they were uh, driving down prices, basically. But it's really interesting to know those little things. But now it kind of became a tourist thing. So there are sweets named Tambov Wolf, there are Tambov Wolves everywhere, and it becomes a thing, a feature, if you will. Unfortunately, some buildings can get destroyed by people who want to build other things in those places. And a lot of places are in disrepair and they need to have some money spent on them. I actually am pretty hopeful about the future of the city because I have seen places like Yaroslavl getting a lot of love and changing into a totally different place. And things do get better with time. The morning of my departure was really misty and magical, and it was time to go home. I'll see you next week with something else.